What up, Money Buffs? I'm Ryan.
And I'm Jonah.
And you are tuned into the Cash Compound's 2 cents on the movie, Blank Check. In this series, we're going to rate the film on our money meter, let you know if it's financially fresh or a waste of your wallet.
Okay, maybe it could be a bad bet for their Benjamins.
Garbage for your greens.
I like that. A miss for your money.
Yeah.
Anyway, this is where we'll go over our thoughts on the movie and key scenes that stood out and anything else that we relate to.
We're also going to take a look at the financial actions in the movie.
And we'll let you know if the movie is even worth your time.
So, silence your cell phones.
Grab your popcorn.
Sit back and enjoy our video. This week we watched Blank Check. If you haven't seen it before, we will want to let you know that this movie will absolutely contain spoilers. So, if you haven't seen it yet, go watch it. But if you have, and it's been a while, we'll give you a brief summary before we jump in.
Blank Check is an old Disney movie that tells the story of Preston, a kid who wants money so he can have freedom. And one day, he gets a blank check.
Blank check.
He cashes this one, the second one, for $1 million and creates a fake adult alias to buy a house and a bunch of stuff, and he basically goes on a spending spree.
For the great watch.
You're welcome.
Hey, you know this guy, what is it, McIntyre?
Blank Check came out in 1994. It has a 5.3 on IMDb. It's listed on Rotten Tomatoes, has a 9% from critics, 34% from audiences, but this came out before Rotten Tomatoes, so they probably just collected what reviews they could from the critics. Jonah, what stood out?
The end where Preston, the little boy, is looking at his expense sheet to see if he can pay the person who set up this massive birthday party.
Funds. Current balance, $332.17. Transaction
$300.
not possible. Insufficient funds.
And there's only $300 left, and he realizes that he spent $1 million in 6 days. That money went super quick, and I think all of us have been there before. Not probably with $1 million, but we at least look at our bank account and we realize we went a little overboard with our spending.
Could you spend $1 million in 6 days?
Easy peasy.
I spent it.
All of it?
All of it.
How could you spend $1 million in 6 days?
You could do it in less than 6,
stuff to buy. Anyway, what stood out to you?
That every adult in this movie is too stupid to realize the kid's a con artist. I get that it's a kid's movie, but this went well beyond my suspension of disbelief. Although, back to what you were saying, where we all know what it's like to go a little overboard with spending, I think a lot of us can relate to Preston at the beginning of the movie. His money is taken by his brothers, he doesn't have enough, and he has no idea how he's going to get it to flow.
Yeah, cash flow is a super big deal. We talk about it all the time.
And someone's got to say it. Having a full-grown woman on a date and kiss a kid is a huge no-go. That's jail time. You could get away with a lot in 1994.
Yeah, I actually think there's a whole lot of truth to discuss with this one.
Yeah.
It's a kid's movie that explores the what if a kid gets $1 million. However, I will say, for it being a kid's movie, there's really interesting stuff to talk about in here. Like when the dad of the boys talks about the golden rule.
Man, your brothers are hard at work.
Yeah, kissing butt for money.
Well, you know the golden rule.
He who has the gold makes the rules. And we talk about that with banking all the time.
Yep.
Nelson Nash brought it up as one of the big problems in controlling your financial environment. If you don't have cash flow, you can't take advantage of opportunities that require money when they come up.
Yeah, Preston has no control over his financial environment at the beginning of the movie. When his brothers stole his change jar, it kind of reminded me of the IRS and my paycheck.
You guys aren't gonna make a dime.
Okay, we'll use this.
Hey, this is my life savings!
Consider yourself our silent partner.
Yeah. Feels gross when you see how much money just goes and you're powerless to stop it. But then Preston has money, but he doesn't put it in a place where the cash can flow, so it just disappears and leaves his hands forever.
Just spent it, right?
Yep.
That's why a lot of times here at the Cash Compound, we teach people, and we are so passionate about putting your money in a vehicle that works for you. That's why we teach how to save and spend money at the exact same time. Now, of course, Preston's too young to work with us, right? If he was old enough or got someone who was to buy a whole life insurance policy, he could have used the cash value to pay for a lot of this stuff, and whatever money he would put into the policy as premium would still be there. and
Yep.
still compounding within the policy.
So Preston was already spending other people's money because that's $1,000,000 wasn't his.
So, you gonna have fun today?
How can I, Dad? I don't have any money.
Look, here's a couple of bucks. Yeah, heck, you can have fun all day on that.
You don't get out my...
But this way, he could have been spending other people's money. Back to what you were saying about him being too young. There's no way he'd be able to put all of that money into just a policy for him.
Yeah, that's right.
So that's when we could get into policies for his parents and siblings to funnel all that money into different policies, which would grow his family banking system.
I love that. I actually really loved a lot of the advice that Dad was giving his boys in the movie. At one point, he literally tells them a penny earned is a penny saved. And I love that one too, because I 100% believe that, and I live my life by that understanding as well.
The whole purpose of this saying is basically that if you can make a financial decision that saves interest costs or put dollars back in your pocket so you can turn it into income, then hopefully you can make more money in income, and that's just as beneficial as saving a dollar outright.
Yeah, I think a lot of people miss that. A lot. I hear people talk all the time about arbitrage, and they routinely don't factor in some of the biggest ways that money leaves their family.
Yeah.
Taxes and interest costs, right? We always want to make sure that when we teach you the true meaning of being able to save and spend, you understand that it applies to your entire financial lifestyle. And when you do, it's almost magical.
For me, the movie is, drumroll please, overall I'd say chump change. And here's why. The adults would have figured this scheme out. The kid wouldn't have been able to cash the check the way that he did. No way this little boy gets all the way through the financial system the way that he describes it. However, it's interesting though, because as far as giving financial advice and actual life lessons, there's some actually pretty good stuff to glean from in this movie. So it's not a complete waste of your wallet.
I got to give Preston, the little kid, props because, like we talked about at the beginning, at the end of the movie, he literally has an expense report.
Yes.
that he's looking at.
How many adults have an expense report?
That's what I'm saying, right?
Yeah.
There was some good stuff about how he was. Again, he lost the money in 6 days, but there was some good stuff about how he was. The lessons they were teaching with the money. I like that.
Yeah.
So if you haven't watched the movie, I don't know if I'd suggest it. Now, if you watched it growing up, I'll absolutely tell you to revisit it because it's fun and nostalgic.
So that's all from us. We hope this helped you determine whether or not you'll use your time to watch Blank Check.
Yeah, and we want to know in the comments what you would do if you received a blank check.
Ooh, yeah, and if you have a movie you'd like us to break down next, leave it in the comments. We'd love to know.
Yeah, from all of us here at the Cash Compound, we'll catch you next time as we give our 2 cents on another Hollywood classic.